Hello, welcome to Guitar Club. Dave here. How are you doing? Yeah, basically, I just want to do a quick live stream today because I want to discuss a topic just about how to make your soloing sound better. That's basically it. It's a topic I get asked about an awful lot, and I think there are some simple things you can do to make your soloing sound better and to make yourself sound a bit more professional, you know? So, sorry, I'm a bit of a cough still. So first of all, hello, Nereze. I'm not sure I probably pronounced that wrong, but you're right. How are you doing? Darren 2011 as well. How are you doing, pal? You all right? So thanks very much for joining us. I'm just going to keep this quite relaxed today because I haven't actually got a video like one of my analysis videos, which seems to be what people are liking at the moment. I haven't got one of those done this week. Now, some people might be aware, some people might not be, but me and my partner are expecting our first child at the moment, so things are a little bit different at the moment everywhere. So, you know, there's a lot going on in our lives, so obviously I love doing this YouTube stuff, but things do have to hit the back burner sometimes, so, you know, one of those things. So, yeah, so whenever I don't have a video actually prepared to come up, I like to do these live streams and just discuss some topics that I find interesting. So today I just want to talk about soloing, how to make your soloing sound better and more professional. So first of all, there's lots of different things, that teachers will talk about how people should learn to solo, and they're all valid. And I totally agree with people that you should learn as much as possible. You need to learn the neck. You need to learn... Oh, that's pretty cool. Sorry, I've never seen that come up before. Ah, cheers, Darren. That's much appreciated, pal. Much appreciated. So, yeah, you need to be learning the neck. You need to learn your arpeggios, your scales, that kind of thing. But when I think about when people learn to solo, when they start getting to lead guitar playing, to be honest, the way it does it is you learn the pentatonic minor scale, and you play over some blues. That's the majority of the way that people do these things. That's the way we do it. We learn the minor pentatonic scale, and we just have a laugh and just play and have some fun. So, you know, some people take it very seriously. I know I have, and I know most people get into lead guitar and do start taking it really seriously, but that's how people start. So, what we're really going to discuss is how to take this to the next level. So, I was talking to one of my students in a lesson, I think it was last week, and we were talking about this exact subject, about how the blues in E seems to be like a universal thing for guitar players. But people of any level, you know, you could be new to playing the guitar, you could be playing for years, you know, you could be quite an advanced player, but everyone, like everywhere you go, if you go somewhere and there's a couple of guitars and someone says, let's have a jam, you pretty much could say to everyone, let's play a blues in E, and you can do it. So that's what I want to base today's lesson around, is the blues in E. And I noticed that when I was going through this lesson with my student and we were going through some of these concepts that I'm going to discuss, all the stuff that he's been learning, because he's been learning a lot about the neck. We've been learning about the scales, the arpeggios, chord shapes all over the neck and things like that. And I noticed that from doing that, he definitely... I could see like light bulb moments where he suddenly realised all the stuff that we're learning is all leading down this path of knowledge to be able to play better musically. And that's kind of the whole point of what we're going to go through. So, this kind of concept, though, will work in any situation. It's not just a blues thing. I'm going to use the blues in E because it's it's where most people start, so it's something that we can relate to on any level. So hopefully people of any ability will be able to take something from this. So, essentially all you need to be able to do these things is know the E minor pentatonic scale and a few chords. That's all. Now, the thing is, when people come to me and ask me about how to get better at playing lead, I can tell that a lot of times what people is really trying to get at is, can they learn some shortcuts and kind of like cheats to make themselves better and to sound better and that kind of thing. And to be honest, I don't think there is any cheats. If you want to learn these things properly, then you do have to put a lot of time and effort into learning as much as possible. like learning your scale shapes, learning getting around the neck, learning arpeggios, chord shapes, learning licks. That's a big one as well, learning some licks, that kind of thing. So there's not really any cheats or shortcuts, but what I'm going to go through now is actually something that you can apply to your playing straight away, and hopefully it'll make you sound better. But I do want to say that even though you could do this kind of stuff straight away, this is not a cheat. You know, if you like these concepts, then you can just spend as much time as you want learning as much as you can about them, and you will learn lots about them. So, and it will make you a lot better as well. So, for starters then, right now, like you can probably tell, I'm going to keep this quite loose, this lesson today, because I just want to have a bit of fun playing around and hopefully figuring out some stuff myself. So, we're going to be playing over a blues and E, so let me grab a guitar. 1 second. There we go. Right, I'll use this one today. Okay, so I'm just going to turn the guitar sound. Now, I have noticed recently that when I have the guitar turned on through the computer, I've been getting a bit of buzzing. So I am sorry if there's some buzz that happens, but I don't think it'll be too distracting or anything. So hopefully the guitar should be on now. Okay, so the blues we're going to be looking at is just a blues in E. So if you know anything about blues in E, that kind of thing, then you'll know that you only really need 3 chords to be played. You've got the E chord, E major or E7, A major, or E7, and your B7. So the blues is essentially the one that I've made as the track we're going to use today is an E. It's a quick change. This goes to an A. Back to an E. Now, there's so many different variations you could do that as a riff. So many things you can do. Whatever, there's so many things you can do with that. A lot of good fun. So, now, the way that people will usually approach this kind of thing is to... just going to check on my settings, make sure that everything's coming through properly. I know sometimes I do have some problems with audio on these things, but hopefully it's okay. So, I'll just check my settings. Okay, that's fine. I know my Pro Tools seems to be going a bit weird with this stuff recently. Okay, so... the way that people usually approach these blues kind of things is... you start off by, let's say, learning the E minor pentatonic scale. So if you don't know the E minor pentatonic scale, I'm just going to bring that on the screen now for you so you can see it. So the E minor pentatonic scale is literally just going to be playing the 12th fret on the low E string, the 15th fret on the low E string, then A string 12-14, 12-14 on D, 12-14 on G, 12-15 on B, and you end on the 12th fret of the high E string. But you can go up to that G note at the 15th fret as well. So you get that. You can throw in the blues scale in there as well, just by adding that flat 5. So the A string, you can change that to 12, 13, 14. And on the G string, sorry, that'll be 12, 14, 15. And they just sound really cool. So that's how mostly people will approach playing over a blues at first. So I'm just gonna have a little jam with just that, and you'll see that the reason why people start doing this is because it's just awesome. It sounds so good, you know, it really does sound awesome. So let me bring up my camera on my guitar. Something like that. Let's bring up the track. So I've put together this just a basic 12-bar blues track. Hopefully it'll sound okay. let's put it on. I'm just going to have a little jam around. You got it, Darren. Good stuff, pal. Awesome. Right. Here we go. You get the idea. So, a lot of fun, and that's exactly the reason why people play around with the blues in E, because you can just get around with the pentatonic minor scale and it just sounds so much fun. You know, you just have so much fun doing it. So hopefully a lot of people like that will be on kind of level where they can just play around and have a few licks they can play with and stuff like that. So now the thing that I liked, what I started to do to make my blues playing and any playing start sounding better, is to use chord tones. So during these blues kind of things, as you can tell, there's 3 chords that we're using. We're using this this E chord, A chord, B7 chord. So now the first thing I'd say is to get used to the structure of the chords and the progression as it goes by, and then it's quite a simple concept. So let me just bring up on screen a diagram of chords. Here we go. So when we're on an E major chord, if we go 12 frets higher, which is where we're soloing, we have essentially what looks like the exact same chord shape, just 12 frets higher. Now the main thing here is you want to picture that chord shape. So even if you do it as a bar chord, or you just imagine that chord shape. So imagine you've got a capo on that 12th fret, and if you make that chord shape there, any of the notes that are there are going to be chord tones that you can use for your soloing. Chord tones are really important to get. Sorry about that, my screen went a bit weird then. So it's weird when people see the back end of the screen system, so that's fine. Okay. So essentially that's what we're going to be looking at, is chord tones. So let's say over this E chord. So let me just bring up the track again. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loop up the very first chord. I think the first chord is probably the best way to do it. So if I just loop up this E major chord. Now what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to use my pentatonic scale to play as I normally would. But when I resolve, I'm going to try and hit one of these notes. Let me just change my angle again. Okay, so when I'm soloing, I'm imagining this chord shape. So an E major chord, just 12 frets higher. So I'm going to be playing around, but then I'm going to be landing on either this note, this note, which is going to be a key one here, this note, or this note. And if I land on one of those tones when I'm soloing, it's going to sound sweet. It's going to sound really nice. So let me bring up the track. Put my headphones back on so I can hear it. Here we go. See that some licks, play around pentatonic as normal, but instead of going to this note, which is going to sound a bit, we'll say wrong. That note doesn't sound wrong. It gives that bluesy sound. But if you might find this, even at, no matter what level you're at, is this note, you might start just bending it slightly to get it up to this note, and you might be doing that subconsciously, but that's what it's doing, is the blues is using that note. So when you play this G note, this is why blues players will often just do a little bend on that note to make it sound like this one. And that's why, because that's one of the chord tones. So let's just try just playing just normal blues licks using the pentatonic minor. And then I'm going to highlight this tone first. See that? I just felt right. So, any one of those will sound great. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of times people find their blues playing doesn't sound quite as purposeful. I often use this analogy that I think there's a difference between playing over a chord progression or playing with the chord progression. And if you start aiming for these notes and just being aware of where they are, this note, this note, this note, and obviously these ones as well, they're going to sound great. It's going to make your soloing sound so much better. So that's what we're doing, is just aiming for these notes. See, these ones are already in the E minor pentatonic scale, so they're going to sound good, and you'll probably find that you land on them quite often anyway, which is why they always sound good. But if you start adding this note in particular in, which isn't in the scale, it's going to sound awesome. It's just going to really change your playing. You do that in a jam session or a practice with your band, and just start highlighting that tone if you're playing a blues on that chord. Your bandmates are going to think you just, like, what have you done different? You sound ace, you know. So, same thing now with an A chord. So let me just find a section with an A chord in it. That's not an A chord. That's an A chord. Right. So, same thing with an A chord. So let me just change the angle. Let's have a look. Oh, someone else is here. Is that... So it's terrible on my screen. Is it Shania? Hello, Shania, or Chandler. It looks like an L or an I on my screen, but it's lovely to see you here. Thanks very much for joining us. Well, I just realized my live chat box doesn't actually bring up everyone who's just commented. So thanks for joining us, though. It's much appreciated. Like I say, it's just a relaxed one today. I'm not going to go into... there's not a massive thing I want to go through. I just want to have a bit of fun talking to you about playing lead, that's all. So, now let me bring up this chord box thing again. So now... One second. Hopefully you can see this now. Let me just double check. Okay, so chord boxes. So that's the one we've just done, is the E chord. So now we're going to start looking at the A chord in the blues. So the A chord would be this guy. Normal A major chord. Again, if you just think of this within the shape of the box where we are, we're playing the E blues, the E minor pentatonic. So if we have this little, if we imagine we've got a capo on the 12th fret and you were to play an A chord. So if you imagine you've got a capo right there, and then play your A chord as normal, as if you were playing it up here. Right? All I want to do is visualise those notes. So we're still playing, when you're just soloing, you're still playing your E pentatonic. But now you want to resolve to one of these tones. Now there are going to be some crossover tones in there, but essentially now we want to land on either this note, this note, this note. Now those are all in the pentatonic scale anyway, so you're going to land on those every so often anyway, which is why you'll sound pretty good when you play with a blues. But then we've got this note at the 14th of the B string is not in our pentatonic scale. So now, when we're on the A chord, and I do have to stress this, if you do this over the E chord, it's going to sound pretty heinous. It's not going to sound the best, because that is, on the A chord, as you see on my diagram here, this note is the major of A. That is not the, that's not in the pentatonic scale. But because it's not in the pentatonic scale, when we go to an A chord in our blues, that note is going to sound really cool. It's going to sound really awesome. So now I'm just going to loop up this A chord again. I can bring up, I can get the track to play again. I'm sorry about this. One second. That's awesome. Just check, make sure everything's working properly on the screen. On the stream, that's great. Fantastic. So, I'm just going to loop up this A chord. Okay. Now, like I say, I'm going to play minor pentatonic. And I'm going to show how it sounds first, without. See? It sounds good. But now if I land on this note, went a bit overboard there, but you get the idea. So now I'm going to link up the E and the A, and you'll see that when I'm playing over the E, I'll play... So I'm basing everything around this E minor pentatonic. That's the key. Everything is based around this E minor pentatonic. Although I did play the blues scale, not the pentatonic, but whatever. But on the E chord, every so often I'm going to really highlight this note in particular, but I'm going to land on any one of the E chords notes, and I'm going to land on the A chord notes on the A chord. I think I have used 7th chords, but it doesn't matter on this track, but I'm just going to do that, so it's going to be 2 bars of E, 2 bars of A, I think. So let's see how it sounds. So, I was really trying to highlight that then, probably more than I actually normally would. I wouldn't really go at it like that. You know, you just have to go with it sometimes, but just being aware of these chord tones and sometimes just landing on that note, the correct note at the correct time, just sounds really good. So, when I'm doing this, just playing as normal, I wouldn't necessarily do that all the time. I tend to find that I'll do a bit more conventional bluesy stuff like E minor pentatonic stuff, but then on a chord change in particular, I'll often try and highlight the fact that there has been a change. And this is what I was saying to this, as I was saying earlier, I was talking to a student of mine about this exact topic the other day, which is why I thought about covering it in this lesson, is if you are doing this and you are trying to highlight the chord tones, you will find that you could probably play the lead guitar without a backing track, and you'll be able to make it sound like there are the chord changes happening. So I'll give you a quick demonstration. Just have a quick drink of coffee. Okay, so now, like I say, I'm going to play the lead guitar. So So, for example, hopefully, if I did that half right, hopefully you could hear that there was an implied chord progression going on there. And that's kind of what I'm getting at with all this stuff is you need to just be aware of chord tones. So, oh. GG Manu, I hope I said that right. How you doing? You alright? I'm glad you could join us. Sam Geronimo. I like the name, mate. I like it. So, now when I was playing then, hopefully you noticed that I actually at the end went to the B7 chord. So this is the third chord in the blues, and this is why you need to get good at just playing the chords of the blues, even if you're just strumming along to them at first. So the B7 chord, let me bring that one up on the screen as well. Hopefully I've got it here. So last one we did was the A and the B7. So again, the way I'd see it is try and imagine that there is a capo at the 12th fret, and then your B7 shape is this one. So if you were to land on any one of those notes during a B7 chord or during that B bit in the turnaround, it's going to sound fantastic. It's going to sound... Now, again, what I like to do with these is I think about what notes aren't in the pentatonic scale. So we're basing everything on the pentatonic. I keep saying that because it's really important that that's the scale you know. That's the one that everyone knows when they first start playing. So we're basing everything around that. But then I like to try and highlight notes that are not in the scale but are in the chord tones, and that's usually when I find things sound the sweetest. So when I'm playing over a B7, I might start... Now the B, and this is the thing as well, is this section of the blues, the B7 I think I did the change at the end of the backing track, like a split bar with them. So it happens quite quick, so you might not want to linger around it too much. So a lot of times when people are first getting used to this stuff, I usually say to them over this turn, just go blues, just go pentatonic, minor and blues. But if you want to get into this idea of chord tones, it's really nice to throw in, you know, you can land on that note because that's the B note, so that's always going to sound sweet, but that is in the pentatonic scale. You can land on this A note here, which is at the 14th fret of the G string, but again, that's in the pentatonic scale, so that's going to sound sweet, but it's going to sound, you might come across that anyway. You land on this 13th fret of the D string, that's not in the pentatonic scale, so that's going to sound really cool over this B7 chord. So if I loop up a B7 chord, in fact, just for a second. So I've got a delay on it, so I'm sorry about that. But if I play I think the audio might be cutting out a little bit there. It sometimes does this on my live streams, doesn't it? I'll have to really work on that, but I can't really help it. But that note is going to help really work over that B7, as is this 14th fret on the high E string. That's not in the scale either. But that's going to sound really sweet over that B7 chord. It's going to sound really nice. So, let me bring up the track again. Okay, let's have a quick check. See, see, notice this. I have this really cool thing, because I've been trying to get these live streams looking as good as I can. And I've got it so the live chat comes up on screen, which I think looks pretty cool, to be honest. But I've just noticed that it doesn't bring up the latest comments that have been made, so I am sorry if it doesn't come up on the screen. I do think it looks pretty cool, though. But let's have a quick look at the comment section, see if anything's happened. This is Sam. Okay. Awesome. Oh, looking good on there. Thanks for commenting though, guys. Like saying, I think I said this in the last live stream. It's quite incredible. Like, for some reason, the channel seems to have grown a little bit recently. I think it's because of these analysis videos I've been doing, because I really enjoy them. It's one of my favourite things to do is like analysing things that I enjoy, and then sharing what I've learnt about them. And I think people who are kind of liking them. So because I've been doing those, I seem to have been getting a bit more growth on the channel, and people have been coming onto these live streams and obviously commenting, and you know, there's some lovely people, you know. I like to think I've met some really nice people on this by doing this, so thanks very much. It really is appreciated, and it really means a lot, you know. So let's have a quick look now at the blues thing. Let me change my angle again, so you've got my guitar neck. Right, so bring up this track. So, let me see if I can bring up a B7 chord. So this should be a B7 chord. And I'm going to do that thing I was saying is, I'm going to play around E minor pentatonic, but then I'm going to hit one of these notes, and just see how it sounds. So that's all three chords covered. So I'm going to put on this last turnaround, and I'm just going to loop it. So this is going to be the B7 to the A7 to the E7. That's the B7. I'm going to try and be a bit over the top with landing on the chord tones. I'm going to try and treat every one of them as their own thing and try and land on a chord tone each time. Like I said, this is not how I'd normally approach playing this. I would normally mix it up and land on a couple of them every so often, but I'm going to try and land them all. So here we go. So hopefully you can hear that by doing that, I'm managing to land on chord tones, which just sounds really sweet. So I'm now going to go through the entire blues progression I've got looped up here. First time through it all, I'm just going to try and stay pentatonic, and that's it. So you can hear how, you know, just sticking to the pentatonic minor, how it can sound awesome, you know, it just sounds great. And the second time through, I'm going to stay playing pentatonic, as I keep saying. Pentatonic is the way to go. That is what we're aiming, you know, what we're using as our basis of everything. But every so often, I'm going to land on chord tones, and you'll notice that, hopefully, if I'm doing it right, it should sound more professional, sweeter, and more purposeful. And I say hopefully, it just makes the solos sound better. And hopefully, from going through this stuff, you've realised that it's actually not. Oh, thanks, Jamie. Oh, good to see you, pal. How are you doing? Now, Jamie is a teacher from around my area. I've seen him on YouTube. God, I don't know. How long has he been? How long have you been doing it for, Jamie? It must be. It's been a long time, mate. I remember seeing your jazz videos years and years ago, and always thinking they were really good, you know. And it's always nice to hear an accent similar to mine as well on these things. But yeah, mate, really good. Thanks for coming along. Say, just really having a bit of fun today. Oh, Wayne as well. Wayne, good to see you here. I'm doing all right, mate. And the missus, she's all right. Just so everyone knows, well, me and my partner, we're not married. We're just, you know. But we are expecting our first child. So that's the weird thing. Is with everything the way it's been going recently, mate. I don't know. We've never had a kid before, so I can imagine it's very strange. Compared to how, you know, with this lockdown and everything, I've not been allowed to go to scans and stuff. So today we went to a scan. It was really cool, really good fun. But that's all I'm going to say about that. You know, I don't want to get into too much about that. But yeah, Jamie, really nice for you to come along, man. So what I'm going to do now is, like I say, I'm going to play over this blues track. I'm going to just play pentatonic stuff first. Because that's what most people do when they do this kind of thing, is just play pentatonic and just have a bit of fun noodling around. Then the second time round, I'm going to try and target some chord tones like we've just gone through. And all you need to be able to do that is, as we've just said, is know these 3 chord shapes. That's it. And I'm just going to target a few notes from that. And hopefully that's going to make the soloing sound a bit more, you know, professional and more purposeful and just sound better, I hope. So, let me change this angle. Let's see if I can bring up the track. So, here we go. Just a blues in E. Let's see what happens. Oh. So I can get carried away doing that kind of stuff all day long. And I have to say I was being a bit over the top there with my phrasing. That's something else that I might do a live stream on. I'll do a lesson on at some point. Is phrasing. You know, phrasing is one of the most important parts about this kind of stuff. Is just generally trying to make yourself sound good. Comes a lot from learning licks, learning the neck, chord tones, which is entirely the point of what we're going through here. But also phrasing and articulation. That's something that I don't care how good someone gets. Phrasing and articulation is something that we can always think about and try and make the way you play the notes sound better. So like there, I have to say I was a bit over the top with my playing. I wouldn't usually do that. Normally, I think I would try my best to give my solos a bit of space. And also, I'm staying around this area of the neck. That's kind of what I'm going for. Now, normally I wouldn't. I'd be up here a bit more. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. So hopefully the things I've gone through there, lights, will give you some ideas, especially if you're new to playing lead guitar and the main thing you've learned is that you minor pentatonic box. If you've learned that and you're getting used to playing around with that and you're having a lot of fun soloing with that, I say the main recap that I want to go through here is if you think about the normal E major chord, A major chord, B7 chord, you're gonna find that you can get a bit more out of that scale just by visualizing that further up the neck. Take this concept into different situations as well. So, for example, blues. You can do it in any key, so if you were doing like, I don't know, blues in B flat. You can start trying to highlight the chord tones. If I was playing that, I might stick around with E minor pentatonic as my first thing, and then I might start. Start messing around, But again, this does not have to be just for blues and things. This is the concept that I want people to take away from it. As I said at the beginning, there's no shortcuts and cheats to learning this kind of stuff. This is one of those concepts that can make your playing instantaneously sound better if you start just thinking about it and planning things a little bit better in your mind before you play certain licks and things. So you could have a normal blues lick, but just think, right, instead of going, I'm just going to go, and just doing things like that, just change that last note, it's going to sound better. But if you start applying this concept to other parts you're playing as well, so this is something else that I thought I might touch upon, but I'm not going to go into full details. If we play something in the key of G, so G major and E minor come from the same parent major scale, which is G major. So that E minor pentatonic scale, if we started from the 15th fret, which is G, and play the exact same thing, this is actually G major pentatonic. And if we're playing in over some chords, common kind of things like G major, In fact, I might have a track done up here which will make it a bit easier for me to explain this. 1 second. As good as married when you create life. Good point, that one. Love down bends, yes. I think we discussed this on the last stream, didn't we? Because I have this bend that I do. I don't do as much as I should, but that bend, I think you remember it well. I love it, that finger picking. I can't remember if it was like Knopfler or see Ray Vaughan. I don't remember where I got it from, but either way, I love that thing. So yeah, let's see if I've got this other track on here as well. Can't remember if I do. If I do, that'll be great. So it'll just be a little loop of something here as well. So let's have a look. So I think the loop I got here was G major, E minor, C major, to D major. So now, again, this is the, I'm going to try and just apply the same concept. I'm not going to go into as much detail, but I'm going to apply the exact same concept to this now as well. So for starters, I'm just going to play the E minor pentatonic, G major pentatonic, whatever you want to call it, don't matter. Hope the audio's not cutting out again. I think it might be a bit. So, get the idea. Normal pentatonic stuff. Now, over the G chord, I can imagine if I had a capo at the 12th fret, imagine the G chord would be around here. So, I land on one of these tones. Gonna sound awesome. E minor. Imagine I have a capo, E minor chord, one of these tones. Gonna sound awesome. C major. Now this is where things get a bit nice in my opinion. So C major. I'll land on any of these tones. Got a sweep to use. Any of those tones? Gonna sound great. And D major. Any of these? Gonna sound awesome. So I'm going to put the track on again, and every so often, I'm going to land on one of those tones as long as I'm playing over that chord. Check this out. Nice. seem to be really obsessed with that lick at the moment. Right, so obviously I'm just noodling around now. So if there is any questions you want to ask me about, then that's absolutely fine. So Darren 2011 got to go in 20 minutes. That's absolutely fine. I actually have to go as well now. Again, not going to go into details about things, but my other half has to do some recording with my stuff very shortly, so I have to go very shortly too. But let's see, if there is any questions anyone wants to ask me, feel free to ask away. I'm more than happy to try and answer any questions. But like I say, hopefully this is just giving you some ideas of things you can do when drinking cold coffee and playing guitar over a bluesy knee. So I'm going to put the guitar down now and just finish up. But hopefully some people out there have got something out of that. So they sound decent, these, don't they? Squires, you know, really cheap guitar. There's the camera there. Cheap Squire Affinity. Change the pickups in it, tone riders. Decent, got a good sound. I like that guitar. I've not really used it much before. I mean, I haven't used it for a long time. I say, my apologies for not having an actual video, especially an analysis video lesson today. As I say, it's been a bit strange times at the moment. I keep forgetting my noodles. To recreate any tips. So, okay, Wayne. So what Wayne says there is, I keep forgetting my noodles. About 95% of what I noodle is rubbish anyway. But when I do play something half decent, I really struggle to recreate it. Any tips? So, it's an interesting one, that, because what that says to me is, obviously when you're playing, you are just noodling around like that. You know, let me grab the guitar. So, if you're just playing and got some sound again. So if you're just playing and noodling around like that, and you say you stumble across something that's nice, how do you recreate it? So there's a few things. First of all, and this is kind of one of those weird little annoying little tips, is record yourself when you're practicing. Record yourself, you know, camera, phone, you know, film it, whatever, and then you can, when you listen back to things when you're not actually playing, it's different. You get a different perspective on everything, and that can help you to find the bits that you like the sound of, rather than just what feels nice to your fingers when you're playing. But the thing that I would do is, if you do find that you heard something that you really like the sound of and you're playing, stop playing and see if you can remember the sound of it. So see if you can get the tone of it. So say if I was just noodling around and so like there, I think it went something like that. So if it sounds good, and if you noticed it sounded good, then the best thing you can do is, rather than carrying on noodling and then that going out of your mind, that bit that you liked, is stop and try and hum it, try and sing it out, try and vocalise the bit. See, I can't remember it now. Somewhat like that. And then you just have to hunt around, because if you've done it and you've stopped, you should know the point of the neck you're playing on, so hopefully you'll know the scale shape you're in. Let's say often it'll be that pentatonic minor box. So let's see if I can find another one, because I stopped there, which is one. Things is just breaking them down, humming them, and see if you can find the notes. So like there, when I was thinking there, it was like, I had the first bit, I knew that bit, but I couldn't find the next note. And I play around, so I know that note. Now I know my playing as well, I know it will be in that note. I've got an obsession with playing that. A lot of students do point me out on that, as I play that kind of thing a lot. And I'm not surprised, I think it sounds awesome. But yeah, that's what I'd do, is I'd say the main thing is if you find yourself playing something that you really like the sound of, stop after playing it and try and hum what you played and see if you can hum it out. Now, I know it sounds like a bit of a long-winded try, but it's definitely the way, because one of the things that people forget about when they start playing lead, and this is probably a problem that you've encountered yourself without realising, is people will work on the fingers and getting the scales and the little patterns like learn and stuff, but actually improving your ears is one of the most important things. I think I might mention this on a stream before, and I'm not going to go into details about it now, but one of the things I really try and get people to do is work on their ears. Hear what you want to play rather than letting your fingers dictate when you play. And the way to do that first is to find a melody before you start improvising. So if I had a chord progression going on, and then I'd create the solo and the improvisations around that, and then I'll usually find that I make up better stuff anyway. I'll come back to it. Always sounds pretty good. So, cheers, mate. Most of the time I know the notes, but it's the way I played them that I struggle with. I'll get my camera phone out next time. Nice one. Good stuff, Wayne. Yeah, it's a tricky thing, mate. I mean, say I've been playing a very long time, and I know exactly the feeling. It's just going to be a case of focusing more on on what you're doing in your practice, which again sounds like a strange thing to say, but the problem is, and I've said this, I think I did a video about 5 practice tips, which I'd say check out. You know, it's I think it was the first video I did where I was trying to make it visually more appealing, so check that one out. But there is something I put there about this kind of thing where I was saying having a bit of focus on your practice, in the sense of not just noodling too much, like just playing and noodling. There is a place for it, but you do need to sit down, make up licks and make up melodies and focus your practice a bit more. But again, don't worry, noodle as well, noodle around, noodle's fun. I probably noodle more than I practice, especially these days. I wish I could practice more. So yeah, so put your time on out. So yeah, so essentially that was just all about getting yourself some ideas for target notes when you're when you're soloing. It's going to make you sound more professional and sound better in a lot of ways, I think, anyway. So if you start being aware of where you land in your solos, and being aware of what chords you're playing over at the time, it's going to help you out loads. So yeah, let's say there's no actual analysis video going up this week. Hopefully I'll have a chance to film the next one this week. I'm going to do that John Frusciante one that I mentioned in the last live stream, where I wrote a solo in the style of John Frusciante by taking all his solos and structuring my solo like it. I've wrote the solo, and I think it sounds pretty good, to be honest. So hopefully that video will come up next week. Just depends if I've got the time to make it. Hopefully I will do. I've got a few other videos in the pipeline that I've got planned out. Obviously, when we do have the kid, I'm not going to be able to put as much time and effort into actually figuring out everything for the analysis videos. So in that time, I'm hopefully going to be doing a few videos on certain techniques. Like I want to do a bit of a bending series where I just do videos about the mechanics of bending, and then go for the mechanics of vibrato, and then the mechanics of bending and vibrato, and then doing some licks and things like that. So if you think that's a good idea, then obviously let me know. Hopefully that'll all come together as well. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I've really enjoyed doing this. Hopefully you got something out of it. I'm sorry I haven't planned anything a bit more than this, but I've enjoyed doing it. So thanks very much for commenting, guys, and stuff. You know, it's really appreciated, guys. You know, everyone has come in. So Nereze, awesome. Cheers, pal. Really nice of you to come along. You were even here before it even started. You know, you start, aren't you? Darren, 2011. Darren, nice to see you. It's the first time I've seen you here, I think. So thanks very much. Shania, awesome. Drop by, say hello. That's so kind. Sam, Geronimo, Sam. Oh, I know who that is. Sorry. Right. Sorry, it's Sam, isn't it? Sam, one of my students. I think it's one of my students, Sam. Good to see you, Sam. Yeah, that's sorry. When you're doing these live streams, you do get a bit carried away with these things. So, hi, this is Sam. Yes, it's Sam. Jamie, you're a star as always. We'll definitely have to meet up for a pint when all this is over. So awesome if you're still there. Wayne, as always, really nice to see you. You know, really good to see you here, pal. I hope your playing's going really good as well. I think I remember you saying something about getting involved with bar chords and stuff. So I hope they're all coming along really nicely now as well. So thanks very much, guys. See you next time. Have a good one.